Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Beloved Titojo and I'm a makeup artist and a YouTuber based in Ilorin. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a bridal makeup look. Nothing much, just something simple. So first off, you want to start with cleansing the face. Please take notes, this video had a lot of breaks, like places where I didn't record what I was doing because my camera was having issues and it stopped recording on its own. So you just go ahead anyway and you cleanse the face with wipes and then also with micellar cleansing water. Make sure you remove. Next thing to do before you put primer is that you spray the face with setting spray. Just your screen prep. Most of my screen prep wasn't recorded because, like I said, my camera had issues and it stopped recording on its own. So you just go ahead, use your setting spray, you use your moisturizer before you then go ahead with your primer. For the primer, I'm using the My Cheek Cosmetics primer, so you use that for your face. So next up is you apply your foundation. For foundation, I'm using Adeventure makeup foundation. Again, you just blend it in, but unfortunately that part was also cut off, but you just blend it in. I eventually had to change my phone camera so that it doesn't keep skipping. So you're doing your highlight and contour. For my blush, I used Blossom makeup lipstick palettes. I can't remember the name of the palette, like the exact name, but I used the Blossom makeup lipstick palette. Every product that I use, the ones that I can remember, will be put in the description box. So you just blend it in. I used the beauty blender I used in blending my foundation, in blending the contour and the blush. You blend in an upward position. Make sure you blend thoroughly. A wise woman once said, blending is the key to a flawless makeup. So next up, you do your contour. Just keep blending and blending. Blend in your nose contour because you don't want any harsh lines. You don't want it to be so obvious that, oh, okay, there is a line here. Just blend everything thoroughly. So I'm going to be using the Becharm Ageless Cosmetics. I hope that's the correct pronunciation. I'm going to be using that for my highlights. It's a palette. I'm using their palette, so I'm going to be using that for my highlights. You already know the areas you should be highlighting, which is those areas I am highlighting in my video, which is, you can just say your T-zone area. So that is the area you're going to be highlighting. So when you do that, you also blend it in thoroughly, very thoroughly. You blend it in. Like I said, I had to change my camera to avoid the skipping issues, flawless video. Anyway, you keep blending it in till you feel like it is well blended. So next up, I'm going to be using the Royale makeup palette. I'm going to be using it for my highlights, both my highlights and my contour. I'm going to be using that palette for it. So you're just going to use I didn't show the shade, but I used one of the light shades for her highlighted areas. So you're going to use a powder brush and you're going to apply your powder on the highlighted areas. Next up is the contour. You used a powder that is 2 shades darker also for your contoured areas. Apply it on your forehead, under your cheekbone and your nose. Those are the areas that you should be contouring. So I went in with a blush palette. I'm using a pink stroke red shade. I think it was like a dark pink shade, so that's what I used for the blush. And then you go over with a powder that is the same shade as her skin shade powder. So you're going to be using that for the rest of her face. The rest of her face being the places that you did not highlight or contour. So you're going to be using her skin shade powder for those areas. Keep blending. Don't stop blending until it is well blended. Do you get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. Anyway, next, I'm going to be using setting powder under her eyes and under the contoured area. You're putting setting powder under her eyes because when you're doing the eyeshadow, some product is going to fall on her face, so the setting powder there would help you like easily dust it off so it doesn't stain your skin work. So that is like the essence of putting like that much setting powder. I think, let me say, that's the essence of baking her face. So next, I'm going to be drawing her brows. First off, you're going to be using a spoolie brush. You're going to brush it up. For these brows, I'm using gel. I'm going to be using a gel liner throughout, even for the inside. I used gel instead of regular pencils. So you outline, I already carved brows before this video, so you're going to use the gel to outline the shape of her brows. If you carve your brows well, it will not be difficult to draw it. So you just use the pencil and follow the already carved brow. So next, you're going to be drawing really light strokes inside. You want your hand to be very light-handed. The essence of the strokes is to make the, should I say, the lines are like hairs. So when you're drawing those strokes, you want it to look hair-like. So if it is thick, obviously your brows cannot be thick like you are trying to draw, you're trying to paint. So you're trying to make your hand really light-handed because you want them to be brow-like. So just be an artist. Evoke your eternal artistic character. Anyway, you go over with your spoolie brush and you brush it to make sure like it looks more natural. For her highlighting for her brow, you're going to be using a flat brush, and I used Adeventure concealer. That is what I used for her brows. So you just follow it. There's no need to do anything serious. You're trying to, the purpose of highlighting the brow is to draw attention to the brows. So you are also using like two shades. You're also using like 2 shades lighter for that. So for the beginning of her brows, I'm going to be using a foundation that is her skin color also, or the foundation you used for her contour. Yeah, you're going to be using the foundation that you used for her contour. That's what you're going to be using for the beginning of the brows. And for the top of the brows, I used the foundation that I used for her skin color. So you just follow what you have already done. Try to be precise so you don't make mistakes and you have to correct. The less mistakes you have to correct, the more, should I say, the neater your work will be. Next up is the eyeshadow, and for that I'm using the Nuban Beauty eyeshadow palette. I'm using a brown shade in one of their palettes. So you are going to be applying the brown shade as the transition color. This is a winged cut crease look. So you just put your transition color in a winged way. you put your transition color, and then you blend it out with powder, the same shade with your concealer that you used on the brows. You blend it out because, as I said, you do not want any harsh lines, and blending is the key to a flawless makeup. So you blend it out. I did this on this side, I did it on the other side. Just blend it till you feel like there is no harsh line. So next, you're going to be cutting her crease, and for this you need a flat brush. You're going to be using eyeshadow primer for this. So you're going to be using a flat brush, and you cut on her crease, and then, like I said, you make it look like a winged, do it in a winged way. I can't really describe that to you because you can see it in the video. So you just cut it in a winged way on the crease. You try to make your hand as straight as it can be because it is a cut crease. Like, just imagine you're trying to cut a straight line. So you just make it straight. So next, I'm going to be going in with the eyeshadow I'm going to be using. So you also use a flat brush for that, and you try to apply it just on that line. Try not to go above the line so you don't ruin the cuts that you've already done. So you go and you blend it there. Just keep applying it on your eyelid. If I am being honest though, this is not a typical eye look for a bride. It's not like you cannot do it. If you do it, you will die. But it's not a, let's just say this is an eye look for an unconventional bride, because it's not something anybody would, like any makeup artist would particularly do for a bride, unless maybe she requests for it. But it does not mean it cannot be done. Next, I just drew her line. I drew a winged liner to, I think, define the already winged shadow. Next, I'm going to be using mascara. I'm not going to be using lashes in this video. I'm just going to be using mascara on her upper eye, on her lower lashes too. Her upper lashes and her lower lashes. Doing lower lashes can be really tricky, so if you cannot do it without like staining the under eye, you can decide to put paper under it, like to protect you. So now I'm just going to be dusting out the powder that is under her eyes and just dusting it out. You can either dust it off or you blend it in. So I think I kind of did a mix of both. After dusting out maybe the eyeshadow that had fallen on the setting powder, I blended it in. So that's what you just try to do. Make sure you do that very well. You do the same thing for the powder you put under her chin. Next, I'm going to be using a pink color eyeshadow under her, for should I say for her waterline, under her waterline, because just to add a little bit of color to her face, so her face do not just look bland. Next, I'm going to be doing her lipstick. For her lipstick, I used the Blossom Afro Chic palette. I got the name now. I used the Blossom Afro Chic palette. I couldn't remember the exact name. I just knew it was a Blossom brand. So I used that. I'm going to check for the shade I used and I'll put it in the description box. So you just line her lips. Try to do this carefully so you don't stain under her lips. This is not a matte lipstick, so it can be really tricky. Like, you have to be really careful so you don't go and stain everything that you have been doing. After her lipstick, I sprayed her face and I used the highlighter, but unfortunately that is not on camera because I stopped recording at that point. So next, I'm just going to be tying something simple on her head, not too serious. So you make your steps, you make sure you arrange them properly on both sides. After arranging them, you open it up and then you cross it. The shorter one goes under and the longer one goes on top. And then you cross it. You can just tell whoever, the bride or somebody around, to hold it. And then you arrange it. So initially I was going to tie a round gele, but then I had a change of mind and I did something else. But the first thing you still have to do is arrange your pleats. Make sure you put your pleats on top of each other and you arrange it right from under her head. Don't just make the front look nice and then the back looks like nonsense. So you make sure you arrange it properly. Keep making your pleats, make sure your pleats are neat, make sure they are precise, and then you just keep making the pleats. So after you have made a reasonable number of pleats, like a few pleats, you arrange it down to the end of her head. That's the other side of her head. So I told you initially I wanted to tie her round, but then I had a change of mind. So I used pin and I pinned it at that side. I pinned like 3 or 4 of the pleats. I pinned it at that side. So now I'm arranging the rest of the gele. So next I'm going to pin this other side to the gele. You pin it in a way that it cannot be seen. So I'm just going to make tiny ruffles. This is not a ruffle gele, so I'm just going to make them. It's not so much. I don't even think it was so visible, but you just try to make them and put them in strategic places as I did in this video. So I made sure the mouth looked fanned out, but then the ruffles were also slightly in the middle. So that's what you just keep doing. Keep arranging it till you feel like it is physically presentable to the eyes. Keep arranging it, like I said, till you get it right. This is the finished look. All I had to do was just arrange it and make it look nice. after this I couldn't record again because I had to also do videos for Instagram, and I forgot to do a proper video to end this. But this is the finished look. I just wore her gown and her ashoke. I really hope you liked this look. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notification bell if you enjoyed this video. Bye.